Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour for this fine Friday, August 21st, 2020. I'm your host, Andrew Barnes, and these are our lovely companions on this road of live coding today. So let's dive right into introductions with Brad.
Hey everybody, I'm Brad Tilton. I'm a developer advocate with a developer program here at ServiceNow. I've been doing some sort of development work on ServiceNow for about 12 years as a customer, partner, and now employee for the last 4. And excited about today's show and today's guests.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad. And then returning from last week, I don't know why he came back for more. It's Jake.
Hello, everybody. Jake Burman here. So I manage our workflow and integration products at ServiceNow. So that includes Flow Designer, last week, IntegrationHub, and really anything around process automation, workflow, and integrations for the platform. I've been with ServiceNow about 6 years and switched over to the dark side or the light side, I don't know. About 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago for product. So I started out in the field, joined product a couple of years ago, and 6 years or so far.
Awesome. And we've got our recurring other Andrew here with us today, one of our developer MVPs. Introduce yourself, Andrew.
Yeah, sure. My name's Andrew Albury-Dorr. I have been working with the platform for about 4.5 years. I work for an insurance company, a customer in Australia, Brisbane. And yeah, big fan of the show, big fan of ServiceNow, and got the Developer MVP award last year. So yeah, here I am to bug people and throw my 2 cents in the ring.
Awesome. And I'm Andrew Barnes, developer advocate, along with Brad here at ServiceNow. I've been developing on the platform for 6 years. I've been at ServiceNow for 2 years. Specialize in managing large-scale development teams, custom apps and integrations. I like to build fun stuff on the platform, and I like it when it makes it even easier. Every new release makes it easier for me to build fun stuff. And so that's why we're here today, is to build more fun stuff. If you've got a tasty beverage, let's introduce it in the same order. Brad.
All right, I have this, it has the wine opener attached to it. It is a B-Funk farmhouse ale that's barrel aged. It was a random thing that I found a couple of weeks ago and thought it'd be good for the show.
You know, we like barrel aged on this show.
I mean, yeah, of course.
And you, Jake?
I'm going with Ballast Point this time.
Nice. And what fine wake up beverage do you have this morning, Andrew?
I ran out of coffee yesterday, so all I have is some nice branded water.
Branded water, nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I have, and you'll all have to forgive me, I can't even read the letters on this, but this lovely beer here from the Dude's Brew. I hadn't read that till right then. So that's going to be fun. So if you're unfamiliar with the show, welcome. Glad to have you here today. We build on top of ServiceNow's platform. And on the show, we build completely unscripted. So I do prepare for the show. So I do things like get credentials already set up when we're going to do an external connection like you'll see today. But I haven't actually practiced any of the stuff that we're here to highlight today. So for example, like I said, I did get the credentials done because we could spend the whole show on credentials, and we have done a whole bunch of shows on credentials, but that's not the focus for today. Today, we're going to be highlighting IntegrationHub So we're going to be interacting between our ServiceNow instance and a different provider. And in this case, it's going to be YouTube itself that we'll be integrating with, because we have a management app for managing these shows and other things to our developer program channel. And we do that with automation because we're developers, and we automate everything that we can because we're a really small team. And the more automation we do, the more cool stuff we can build. And in this case, we're going to build some cool stuff that's automation so that we can build more cool stuff for automation. Nothing meta going on here at all.
I like it.
If you've seen any of these before, we're going to be working on the Artifact Manager. That's the name of our app to do all of this automation. And today, we are working in a Paris instance. So we're still in the early access period of our newest release, Paris. So we'll be working in that. And we've got a brand spanking new YouTube spoke, fresh off the factory floor into store.servicenow.com that we're going to be using. We've built our own spoke on the show previously to do our automation, and we have a collection of business rules and script includes and outbound REST messages. Because we built this up over time, over like 4 years, we got a wide collection of ways that we're interacting with this thing. And one of the goals before the end of the year with this new YouTube spoke is to centralize all of those automation points to YouTube to leverage that one spoke and flows to, take advantage of those. So get rid of all of the other methods that we're using to invoke and engage YouTube as an external source. That's enough intro, I think, right, Brad? Or is that did I miss anything that we're going to do today?
No, I think that's good. And, I think this is a good use case for, if a lot of people have built some sort of integration and you have a use case where you want to take a lot of what you've done and centralize it into something like a spoke that we have kind of that all encompasses something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. And so that's one of the motivations for highlighting this today, because this is actually a thing that you'll actually run into as a ServiceNow developer is, in this case, ServiceNow's provided a new YouTube spoke that replicates some of the existing functionality and adds some new functionality. And I want to take advantage of some of the new functionality and get rid of some of my own technical debt by linking in the existing stuff to the provided spoke instead of the collection of ways. And then separately, I want to move all of our business logic when I'm doing that to all be centralized in flows so that I can actually find it all in one place and manage it all in one place, because that will make my life and administration of this easier. So let's start screen sharing.
All right.
Does all of that make sense to you, Jake, what we're doing here today? And is that a sort of story that you've heard before?
You're automating manual process. Yeah, it sounds like it. We're right on. I mean,
hey, Brad, can you let me share?
I can.
I was in that situation last month when the Google Directory spoke came out. I'd sort of half built a bunch of stuff for our organization in my own spoke, and then the directory spoke came out using better stuff. And yeah, that's one of my things that I'm going to have to do is pretty much this, except with a different spoke.
Yeah, so it is definitely a thing that you could run into as a ServiceNow developer. Enhancements will be made, and that's a good thing. And I don't need to transition to leverage those things immediately. So what you're going to see today is we're going to ease into this a little bit. So I've got one of my favorite places open here, and let's just give it a full reload because I'd need a full reload. Let's do a we'll leave it. if it's happy, I'm happy. All right, so we're in Flow Designer, which is one of our tools that Jake is over that group that manages Flow Designer. And inside of Flow Designer, you have, well, let's go to the main screen. We've got flows, subflows, actions, executions, and connections. So I'm actually on the connection screen, which is brand new in Paris. So we released a blog about this on developer.servicenow.com. What was that? Yesterday or Tuesday? It's recently this week, highlighting this new area here in Paris. And what you'll see here is all of the connection aliases that I have set up in this system that are ready to be consumed here in IntegrationHub. And you might notice there's some different scenarios here. We've got advanced setup, and then we've got add connection. And the difference between those is if Azure AD actually has a template for adding a connection. And so when we hit add connection, it gives us this very tailored, exactly what I need experience for just this credential type and connection, specifically to Azure AD. And when we don't have that, so this normal AD spoke, we'll go back to our traditional view that allows us to set these up. And you'll notice there is no configuration template. So since this is not set, we don't have a tailored experience here. So that's the main difference that you'll see there. We also have actions. And so we're going to narrow down this list view that I have here. I'm going to right click and hit show matching on our YouTube spoke, which is just freshly released yesterday to our store. So I installed this earlier today and established my connection. So I gave it some credentials and then connected. And then that's sort of where we're set up to pick up now. And so we looked at this earlier, Brad, you and I, and we decided that for today, we were kind of really excited right off the bat with this reply to comment. Initially I was like, "Ooh, cool, post comment." But then I was like, I don't need to post comments to my videos. I need to post responses. And then you notice that there is a different action for that because it's a different API from YouTube to reply to a comment. So let's open that up.
Yeah, we've got a lot of these videos now that, it's kind of hard to stay up to date if somebody comments on a video. And so it's nice to be able to pull in all these comments and reply to them, or at least manage them from a central location. So that's why I was excited seeing that, because I hadn't really even thought of it till I saw it in the spoke.
Yeah, so absolutely. We want to centralize that because we've got blogs, we've got YouTubes, we have comments in the community. We get comments in a lot of different places, and there's more than one of us managing those responses. And in order to make that good experience for everybody, is one, we as a group need to have visibility to them, and as a group be able to respond to them and know that they were responded to. And so this jumped out at me and said, ooh, I initially thought, let's replace something existing with this new spoke. And then I got excited about the new shiny thing and was like, let's get the comments so that I can then reply to them and centralize that. So I was pretty excited to see this. So we need two things. We need to get the comments, and then we need to be able to reply to one. So there was also a let's use our search.
Look up comments about halfway down.
Comments. All right, there we go. Look up comments. So these are the two actions that we're going to highlight and look at today. So I opened up Studio earlier, and I need to give it a refresh as well. excuse me, and created a new table for comments. And so you can see here, I took a stab at what we needed. We might need to adjust this a little bit, but as we explore those actions and see what they're available to do, we may need to adjust our data model a little bit, but this was to get us started. So returning back to Flow Designer. So the first thing I need to do is look up some comments. So let's see what this provided spoke is giving us. Well, what it needs actually is the first thing I want to know is, what do I have to give this in order to get some comments? So when I select it, I've got these inputs. So this is what this action needs in order to move forward. And we've got 3 mandatory ones here at the top. So these will definitely need to be provided. So I need to give it a filter. Not sure what that is right now, what that would actually look like. A resource ID. I'm not exactly sure what that is either. And max results, I can figure that out. That makes sense. I suspect resource ID in this case is either going to be my channel ID or a video ID. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll look to see how it's used, and then that will lead us towards that. So we've got our rest step, and if we take a look here and see what it's sending YouTube, that will probably help me figure out. So ID is going to be snippets and replies. So this is what we're getting back from YouTube, and pre-processing type ID is out ID. I don't know what that is. But search terms, order, offset, next page, moderation, all of those are not that important. Search terms and out ID. Let's go look at what those are. So we take that resource ID and map it to enter ID. And we've got a script here, and let's see what we're doing with that enter ID. Oh, we're using it a bunch of times. Comment ID. Filter. Video ID, channel ID, all channel ID.
So filter is a choice, I noticed too. So we're telling it what kind of ID am I going to provide here, and then we're providing the ID.
I didn't catch that. Thank you, Brad. So that was in our inputs is a choice here on
at the top there. Yeah.
Check the action properties too, which might not render the best, but it'll give you, it might be better in the action picker, but it might have a short.
Nice. Let's do that in the action picker. So good call, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, they should be well documented in the docs too, which are linked up the spoke install. But another quick way is through the action picker. And a quick plug, next release, we're going to have inline documentation. So at any point within your flow, you can bring up the instructions without just closing the action picker each time and having to reopen it to see what the instructions are.
Oh, nice. That actually sounds very useful.
Amazing.
So you can actually see we have been doing YouTube stuff for a while now.
YouTube broken spoke.
That is so true. And I want to look up comments. Oh no.
You clicked it too fast.
And see, that's where right when you do that, there's going to be like, how in the rest of the platform, you've got your inline help, that side panel that will pop up.
Yeah.
The flow so that doesn't happen.
Comments.
Oh, there's a space in lookup.
Look up comments. All right. Don't click it. Just read it. So filter is the type of resource ID. Okay, so like Brad pointed out, those are the choices. Resources. So we're going to send it a channel ID, I think. No, I'm going to send it videos. I want particular video ones. So cool. The filter will be the video, and then resource ID will be the ID of that video, and then that's the only thing I really have to specify. Sweet. So here, if I did video ID, which is the default, noise, and then I give it a resource ID, which will be a video ID. So let's do created or updated. So we're going to set a trigger. This might not be how I end up doing this in the end, but this is what we're going to do for now. And we're going to do, actually don't care. Let's just go get them. What's a good flag here? I think I might actually I'll probably just run this every day versus so for now we've got a video, which is really what we need, and I'll figure out the trigger. It'll probably be a scheduled flow that just goes and grabs them for all of our videos. So we've got a video record, which has a channel, which has an ID, which is not the channel ID. It's the video.
Is it that one, or is it the video ID field that was down the bottom of that?
Oh God, there's so many IDs when you're dealing with YouTube stuff. Video ID, that's probably the right one.
Mm.
Good catch there, Andrew. That's why we have two Andrews.
Yeah.
Because one of them is good and one of them is bad.
it inverts daily.
Yes. Well, we're on different days.
Mm.
Haha.
Yeah, I'm good on Saturday for now.
All right. So that should be all I really need to go get something from this. Let's try it out. Let's do it. So let's save that.
Run it in background.
Then I'm going to test it and run it in background. In order to do that, I need to grab a video ID, which I have handy dandy right here. You want me to create a record for that, Brad? Or do we just stuff it in there?
To test, I think we're good just stuffing it in there.
Okay. So it doesn't matter. Oh, I need to.
I think it
I
does
do need
a
to.
record.
Yeah. If I tested the action individually, I wouldn't. I can just test from here, actually. So I could just do this. That's sort of the old way. How I was doing it was the old way. There's a test action right here on the test button on the action itself. So this is the better way to do it anyway. We should do it this way.
It was like the best feature in New York, I think.
It made me really happy. So I said it running in the background. I should have gone to another screen to show that I actually was running in the background, which is a Paris feature. So that's brand new, shiny brand new. So what is our expectation? So before we go look to see if we were successful, we have to actually know what success looks like beforehand. So I have this video here, and it should have a comment on it. Look at that. Watched it again, still good. So there are 2 comments on this video. So our expectation is that since we set the max at 20, we should get both of these comments and some details about the comment. So I would expect to have the body. This video is incredible. And in the future, I should expect that I get whether or not the likes and dislikes or hearts. So we'll do a little heart, and I'll throw one in here too. Hello there. So next time we'll expect 3 and some likes and dislikes. And so if we return to Flow Designer and our execution details, we'll see that we look to have got a completed test run. So let's take a look at our page details. So this action is set up to do pagination. So it will, step through calls to our API and bundle them up in groupings. We don't need that for this one, so we're only going to have one page, but it is prepared for that. So let's see what we get down here. And so here's our REST step. And this is what we sent over to them. And we hope that the response body contains some JSON that, contains our comments. Watched it again, still good. Oh, so text display is there. Text original versus text display. I wonder what the difference between those is. We've got the author's display name. We've got the ID of what I assume is the comment itself. We know which video it was, but I already know that anyway because I said, give me the ones for this video. Here is author channel URL. Is that something? Is this Brad's URL?
Oh, that's a good question. I just assumed that was your URL.
Because it says author display name is Brad Tilton.
Yeah.
And then author channel URL. This has nothing to do with ServiceNow, but I want to know what this is. So I'm going to have to go look
I
at
don't think I have anything on that.
That is Brad Tilton's YouTube.
So mine's personal data.
A kid and a dog. There we go. Both mine.
So I've got your profile image, your YouTube channel ID and URL. That's
phone
handy.
number, address, social security number.
Yeah. We definitely will know all the things. And we've got a like count, can rate. Okay. So we've got some useful stuff here. Sweet. And here's the second comment. Wait. Yeah. That's the second comment. Nice. So we got two. Victory. That's a drink right there. We got what we expected, and it worked on the first try, which is pretty magical. Again, if you haven't caught this before, we're not pulling any rabbits out of hats here. The expectation of this actually working was pretty low because this is the first time we tried it.
You know.
It's an out-of-the-box spoke. Of course it's going to work.
Oh, credentials, Google APIs. There's a lot of failure points here when with just saying those two sets of words. So the output of our action should be a nice complex object that we can do stuff with. And it looks like we have a script to do that. And we'd actually need to, pull that into the flow to experience that, but our expectation is that we have those available to us. Sweet. So we've got the ability to collect comments now. And so we want to go and try it, how to reply to a comment, because in the next 20 minutes, hopefully we can store these comments in the comment table and then maybe even reply to one from our instance. So let's do it. Let's go to collect comments. So we're going to look up comments. Then we need to, and you'll see that this action, which I have never seen before. So is this a new way to?
Yeah, it's data streaming. So anytime we do data streaming, we nest it for each thing. So it's kind of
awesome. So it's built in for each right here for me. So I don't have to have a separate action to say, all right, for each of those things from this thing, it just automatically gives it to me. That's awesome. I hadn't experienced that yet.
Another thing I noticed,
that's cool.
It's very highly performant. So you can actually go point to a 2 gig, a stream of 2 gigs of data. I'm syncing my entire Active Directory. Further, you can actually point data sources and import sets to actions, which in the case of using data streaming, instead of taking and breaking that import set up from LDAP, 200 gig file into 100 meg chunks and taking a month to do that import manually, you can now point to a data streaming action via data source and just stream that data in a couple hours. So like
Nice.
really nice.
That sounds really awesome.
I'm excited about this. We have Google groups and users and stuff that we use in G Suite. We want to import them into ServiceNow, and the directory spoke has data streaming actions to do that. So we just got to upgrade to Paris to leverage that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to, for each of those comments that we receive from YouTube, we want to create or update a record. So we want to do an upsert because we may already have created this record previously, and we just want to update them if so. And then let's map some data. So we've got author. Let's throw in comments. Author name, boop. And then we want, let's see what we have available. Comment ID, and then the text displayed. Let's get that far. Comment ID.
I'm thinking out loud, but if you ran this once a day, you could auto reply based on like a decision table or something that says, look for these conditional keywords or themes, or you could even potentially use NLU to get the intent. If you really wanted to go crazy, to say, get the intent of the comment, auto reply if it's one of these known intents. And if not, file it into, hey, somebody come look at this.
That is a really great idea. And I have done some NLU processing for intents like that for additional comments on like an incident. So a task-based thing. So applying that same logic here, that would be really cool. So if someone just says, great video, we could auto respond with, thanks.
Right. Thanks so too, or whatever. And you could have a whole library of those. That would be awesome.
That would be really cool.
But you could bundle that and somebody would find that downloadable to store.
Absolutely. So, and then the text displayed. So we want to determine uniqueness right here on the comment ID because those are going to be unique. And then the last thing we need to do is populate the video reference field here. And that should be what we need. Yeah?
Yeah,
that seems reasonable. Awesome. All right, so we need to go create a record for that video because we haven't pulled that one down because I just created it today and it's in a whole different channel anyway. So I need to create a new entry here.
Did you save your flow? It didn't look like it.
I tried to.
I'm the flow saving police. Just checking.
Okay. Well, I'll be back there soon. So none of this the video ID is the only thing that really matters. So here we go is the live code happy hour intro video. And we'll give it an ID even though that doesn't matter. Submit. So we should have a new, why don't I have updated? If I'm an administrator in ServiceNow, I want every table to have updated and I want everything to be sorted by that. I actually made a script to do that at one point. That would just, anytime I go to an instance, I put that script in there and run it, and it would add that to a list of common things. Set those preferences. So I thought I saved, but clearly I didn't, because Brad is the saving police.
Just made me nervous.
Yeah. So we've got a record, so we should be able to test this now, and the results of our test should be that in our, let's drop into Artifact Manager. Let's add our related list comments. So down here, our expectation is we get 3 entries here. That's the goal. So let's test this against live code happy hour intro. Run.
How is this going to manage the comment trees in YouTube where you have comments on a comment? We're going to have like a parent field on the comments, maybe?
I believe that they have a reference. I believe the YouTube API has a comment hierarchy in the API response. So we could simulate that as well if we need. So our flow ran. We've got a nice indicator here of 4, which is maybe one more than I expect, but let's see.
Looks promising.
But it looks, it's directionally correct. Oh, one of you watchers added a comment. Sneaky.
Trying to throw us off.
Throwing me off. Our body is there and the comment ID is there and the author's there, and that's all we asked it to do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was super easy.
That's pretty awesome.
The fact that you did create or update and it'll correlate, you could run this over and over and over again. It'll just synchronize them, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So Jake pointed out when I set the over here, this upsert, when I set this determines uniqueness, means that when I rerun this, I should nothing should happen, right? That our expectation is that none of those data records change because I'm not updating anything in those since then, unless Brad goes and like edits one of his right now. But we're not going to ask him to.
Yeah, fingers crossed, right?
Again, completely unscripted, so stranger things have happened. All right, nice. So 2 minutes ago, none of these were touched because there was nothing to change. So we didn't get 8, and we also didn't update them because they didn't need to be updated because none of the data changed. Now that's some victory right there. So that was pretty easy. So we still have our 12 minutes left to give us a functionality to reply to one of these. So let's set that up.
Let's do it.
So we want to reply to a comment. And in order to do that, we need to give it the parent ID and then what we want to say. So we need a flow for that. So let's set up a new flow. And we're going to say post comment. And let's go. User who initiates session or system user. And we highlighted this last week. We've got the runs with roles if we needed to. And we might actually consider that for this table, that we restrict this even further. But we're not going to do that today. But we definitely want some restrictions on who can actually post comments for sure. So we're going to do on created on our comments table. And done. We are going to call our YouTube. Maybe it's just comment.
So one observation, it's the same
Yes,
comment table that you're synchronizing, right?
It is.
So are you doing this to say when you take action as a user inside of ServiceNow, or is this for automation? Every time you insert one, you're going to just auto reply?
Yeah, I think when I'm going to insert one, I'm going to reply. That will send it to YouTube. So I'll probably need to adjust the other one so when it comes back, it looks to see if there is no.
You don't want to create a loop because next
right.
time comments are going to have comments and so forth.
Right. That's what I was trying to say is I want it to find it even though it doesn't have an ID. So in order to stop that from happening, if I put in the, so I'll get a response back from YouTube with my comments ID. And as long as I write that back to the comments created, I should be fine.
So your trigger is going to be comment created without an ID. And then
yes,
that will stop the loop because everything
right,
coming
because
in
all
from
the
YouTube.
ones from YouTube will have it.
Yep.
And I'm going to populate it with one as part of this flow.
Yep.
So we the ID comment ID is empty. So we want to post a comment, and the comment is going to be from our comment record. Hey, we'll do the other way. Boop, boop, and body. The video ID, we need that from our record. Video reference, and the channel ID.
Is it the video reference or is it the video ID under the video reference?
Glad we brought you along today.
I just want to drink more of my refreshing water.
The video ID, and then inside of that video reference record, we also have the channel ID. Done. So that should post our comment, and then we want to update our record. So our trigger record, we'd like to update it. No, we don't need to update that. I was going to get I do. I need the ID.
Because
that's what
otherwise your correlation won't work.
Comment ID. And that should be one of the responses from YouTube. Oh, thank you, whoever built that. You gave me what I expected you to give me. And I could have enhanced it if I needed, but thank you for giving me what I wanted.
Should you maybe wrap the update comment in a if status is successful?
Maybe.
I
thought about that when I saw the status and I was like,
yeah,
let's try it out. Let's get it working, and then we'll error handle.
Sure.
So comments created where the comment ID is empty. Post a comment. Update back. So if I want to test this, I'll say this guy should post a new comment with just whatever the body is of this guy, which is hello. So as my entry, it should post a new thing called hello. Then it's going to update the comment ID. So maybe I should just make a new one. I'll publish and make a new one. I know it says activate, but I call it publish. Activate, publish, same thing. So new one. AJB says, I like posting to videos. And we've already got our video because we were in a related list. And we say go. And we can check the flow executions if very shortly we don't get the comment ID populated. So this is happening asynchronously. So it's got a, and it's an external source. So, well,
there we go.
Well then, that is a very promising sign. So very promising sign to say that when I load this, it should see a comment on this thing from me that is going to be right down here. I like posting the videos. Man.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure I was going to finish that in the 12 minutes, and we nailed it in 8.
So we've got 4 more to allow replying to comments.
Well, yeah. So I do need to be able to reply to a specific one, right? So if I reference it to, so there is the child action here, right? So a reply in line to another one. a child here. So I need to, in order to do that, I have to send it which one I want. Is that something that this accepts? Nope. So we're going to have to enhance this post comment in order to do that.
I think there might be an action called reply to comment.
There is, yeah.
Which is what you've got open in another tab.
Which is what we said we wanted to do. Brad, I did it again earlier today. I was like, post comments, what I want to do. And then Brad was like, no, you want to reply to comment. Oh, you're so right, Brad.
No, I didn't even catch it.
The post comment stuff will be great for adding additional info after the show goes live. It's like, I just want to put a link to somebody's blog on this post, and there you go. Maybe even pin it.
So here, this is where I think we need to do what you said, Andrew, which is expand our data model a little bit.
Yeah.
With parent.
You didn't. Yeah. I don't think you used those words that way, but that's what I
was
heard,
definitely thinking
and
that.
I agree with you.
And I'm also thinking
to make a new reference field.
A UI action to reply to a comment, which then calls the flow via the new API would be handy.
I thought the same thing, but I was like, I'm not building that on the show today. So I
and
didn't
especially
say
not
it.
in the last 3 minutes.
So you're right. That's actually probably how I want to use it, is in a modal, to just with a UI action that says reply to comment and just gives me a box and then hit
Screw
post.
it. Let's just make an entire comment portal while we're here.
I think we're going to be here a little longer than.
Well, I've got all Saturday, so
yeah, just throw some components in there, and we'll go to town.
Yeah.
Like workspace, you could have like the YouTube feed happening real time. And you know what? It would be cool if you incorporated like Google Translation. So if somebody submitted a post in a different language.
Ooh.
Yeah, translates it into your instance and then translates the reply
translates it, gets the intent, and then does stuff based off that. Yes. Yeah. Now we're cooking with Crisco. All right, so we've got a parent field. So we've extended our data model so that we can get this comment ID. So we're going to have to go here, record. We might need a refresh for that, but yeah, we need a refresh. It's fine. Let's save. In order for Flow Designer to run efficiently, it's got to do some preloading at the start, and I'm okay with that. Just like in games, like if you want to take 5 minutes to load the game and then not have any stuttering or loading while I'm playing, that's fine. I can wait at the start. No problem. At least to me. I'm used to, I would prefer a good experience while I'm working. No, bad. Come on. Not what I wanted. This one, parent, then comments ID. There we go. And now we get the from our trigger, the body. But yeah, this reply to comment would be very easy to just call that directly, like Andrew was pointing out, from a UI action with a single modal, and just pass it that one, automatically grabs the comment ID from the thing you're replying from, and then just gives you a single box to say what do you want it to say, and then does it. So that's a great idea. Let us hit done there. Move this up our tree. Nuke this original. Goodbye, friend. We barely knew you.
Oh, okay, no worries. I thought maybe we'd have a different reply to comment flow, and we keep the creation.
Right now, I don't post any comments until someone speaks. So
sure.
I'm building for now, not the future. What am I doing? updating record. Which record? This record. And I'm doing the comment ID from this guy. Bam. Done. Save. Activate. So in our comments, we need to go ahead and add a related list. Boop. So that when I hit new here, it populates parent for me, which is really what I need. And I have a body, and I should probably get rid of the rest of this stuff on this form because it's relevant. And I say, this is a child comment. Submit. And so our expectation is that we get a new flow execution over here. It's queued. Let's watch it. It's completed. It's updated our record. Sweet. So that means over here, we should have, and it doesn't look like it does live updating. So I'm going to have to refresh the page. Oh, look, there's some replies. A child record. Thank you, Rohit. So let's stop the share and get to our question and answer, because we like the question and answer session. But I really want to run really quick the get collect comments and just see that work.
You haven't populated parent in that, remember?
I haven't.
Yeah.
That's true. But it should be fine.
Yeah, it should be fine. We're still correlating on the same ID.
Yeah.
True.
So let's test it.
Ooh, yeah, this is a good. I think I saw in the spoke that it only gets top level comments. So we'll have to see if that new comment shows up.
Oh, only top level comments. Let's go to, comments. Just now, I like posting the videos. Only top level ones, so 5. And over here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, but I created this one, so 5.
Yeah, Rohit's hasn't shown up.
So it doesn't retrieve these children. All right, we'll have to figure that out. So I'll stop share, and we will return to our regular view. Hello. So now we get to, and we had a lot of fun, and I actually learned a lot of things last week, which is great. I love learning new things with Jake and Brian from Jake's team last week. So Andrew, do you have anything queued up for Jake today? I know you're a flow advocate, so
yes,
I'm sure you don't have to restrict yourself to IntegrationHub.
No, I've been using IntegrationHub a lot lately with my work. I do really like it. One of the things that I've run up against recently is the what's it called, where you do the authentication of REST requests before the actual flow. I asked you about it at one stage, Andrew. Now I can't remember the name of the feature. It's like script includes that provides
like you're doing a signing.
Yeah,
like
that's
JWT.
Like, not necessarily JWT. It's stuff
but
like
it's similar.
Yes. Let me just find the name of it over here. It is authentication algorithms. That's what I've been trying to find out about, and there isn't a lot of docs. There isn't a lot of information other than you can create them. Do you know if there's anything coming for that, because I have a bunch of use cases, especially around on-prem mid-server stuff.
I don't know actually. If the I don't know what lack of documentation is there. I'll have to ask one of my PMs to track that down. Andrew, I don't know too, like if that's something that you would check in on. I am guessing if it isn't there, it's something we have to address, and at a bare minimum, like go look at one of the existing algorithms and then derive the results from it. But that's not a great answer, so we'll have to circle back.
Sure. And that's what I've been looking at.
Yeah,
So
and that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
Because I think there's one or two examples in there.
It should
that are shipped.
support really any auth scenario using our supported protocols. So like if you have to capture a token and then pass it in as a subsequent step, and the refresh or machinations of concatenation and other things you have to do in weird auth scenarios, right? Adding headers, removing headers, and so forth.
Yep.
It can support all of that because you essentially have scripts. You're essentially given the ability to script and then access the authentication as it occurs. But yeah, if the docs are poor, we'll have to address that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So that leads me into one of our Paris features that's a sort of smaller feature for many folks, but for the folks that are doing things like creating their own integrations and dealing with OAuth credentials and things, it's a nice enhancement, which is I'm trying to think of the name. So when you're creating a OAuth entity profile, there's a script include that you have to build that enhances, that handles the token. And what was released in Paris was that that utility, the base one there, is now an extendable script include that makes available modifying any of the endpoints or anything in a scriptable method to handle some of those flexible scenarios. So I know that that's a new thing in Paris that I haven't gotten to play with yet. I've had experience building those myself and wished that existed. So I'm pretty excited about that, even though I can't remember the name. Do you remember the name of that, Jake?
Extension points. So script includes have this concept called extension points. It's up to obviously now to develop the out of the box things we provide with extension points. It sounds like that's what happened with this OAuth script include.
Yeah, so that's how the mechanism is of the extendability of it. It's the OAuth API script area, and inside of that, the provided script include that you'll be extending has a name. I think it's like auth util.
Yeah, OAuth util is the out of the box one, I think.
Okay, OAuth util. So now that's an extendable script.
That's exciting.
Which is great and provides a lot of functionality to enhance your ability to be flexible when you're setting up these OAuth setups, because they can be wildly variant. Wildly variant.
I'll do a quick plug on another Paris feature you brought up prior to the call, Andrew, is multiple connections. So with our Integration Hub and integrations folks, we have and use connections and credentials. The idea with connections and credentials is to separate the code from the auth, right? Connections and credentials have been around for a long time, but the code points to a connection alias. Today, and historically in Integration Hub, you can only point to one connection. What we introduced in Paris is this idea of child aliases. So I could have a work alias, personal alias, system alias, and so forth. And within my flow, I could say, connect to my personal box folder, connect to my company box folder, connect to some other sales account box folder, all in the same flow. I can either say, this is the connection I want to use for the flow versus the system default, or I can say, step 1, step 3, step 5, use different connections. And so now you have that flexibility to have multiple connections and then route your processing without going through extra work or copying of actions and so forth. So super excited about this.
That is super exciting. And I meant to show that today. We even talked about that. That's one of the things I wanted to show today, but I forgot to show that today. We did show the connection manager where you manage those connections. So that's that new tab in Flow Designer to that dashboard to manage those connections and add the multiple ones. But we didn't actually leverage that with our spoke today. But we'll definitely show that in the future. And I know, Jake, you have to get going. So let's go ahead and wrap up. Were there any questions in the chat, Brad, that we need to address before we rate our drinks? You're muted, sir.
I can get that. There was a question around leveraging multiple mid servers for integrations, because I think at the moment you sort of just pick one directly. Can we do like bulk APIs through multiple mids in a round robin or something like that with IntegrationHub?
So the short answer is we use mid-server selection. So IntegrationHub simply uses mid-server selection rules, and it will automatically route based on those mid-server selection rules and capabilities. We are looking to enhance it so you can be more selective as well. The other thing to note today that accepts a comma delimited list, but it's really an undocumented feature. So if you wanted to say, like, here's 10 mid-servers to send it to, you could construct the proper data pill or comma delimited list as the mid-servers you want to use this action for. But it uses mid-server selection. So you define that, and I have to look at the interface, but you define the capability you want and it will just work.
Yeah. Nice. Thanks, Jake. Was there anything else, Brad?
I think that was the main one.
Awesome. Well, let us go around the horn the same order as usual. Brad, did you get your beverage opened?
I did finally get it open once we dropped into chat, but I had the B-Funk Farmhouse Ale. It was pretty
I think
good.
it loses a quarter for how hard it was to get in.
It was good,
or does
though.
It raise it because it was hard to get?
Is it worth it?
I don't know. 4 or 5 feels right, so that's where we're going.
Looks
4 or 5.
Was it thick and malty? Because it kind of has that vibe. Like, it was really.
No, it was kind of light and fruity, but still barrel aged. It was a good kind of complex beer there.
Awesome. And Jake, how was your Ballast Point, right?
Ballast Point, I mean, this is a go-to. So San Diego Brewing, awesome beer. Solid 4.4. I even say 4.5. Like, it's a really good beer.
All right, nice. And H2O gets the 5, right?
Always. I mean, you got to drink it to survive. So it's hard to mark it down for that.
My the Dude's Brew, but I can't still. There's letters there. Someone will tell me what it was eventually. It's all right. It's fine. I probably won't be buying anymore. This is a 3.5. So thank you so much, Jake, for joining us today. This went swimmingly well. We got our store item from YouTube. I'm super excited to get rid of some of our maintenance of these things and centralize this so I can see them and actively manage this in a better way. And we got some new features on top of it. So made me excited. Like, I was super excited to do this YouTube spoke today. So thank you for joining us, and thank you to your team. Thank you everyone in the chat for joining us. Any last words, Andrew?
No, great to be here. Thanks a lot. Keep making IntegrationHub and Flow Designer amazing, and I will continue to be your full advocate.
And anything else, Jake, before we say goodbye?
I do need to drop, so I'm going to cut out, but thanks. Good session, guys.
All right.